Hey, hello from the 757 Spy flight deck. Guess what? It is less than 48 hours away from one of the biggest flight sim events of the year. It's called Cross the Pond. 2,000 of our favorite flight sim and friends are all going to gather on the VATSIM network and fly our simulated airplanes from one side of the Atlantic Ocean to the other. Hello, I'm Dave from the 757 Spy Flight over on Twitch. Thanks for joining me for a second here. These are just some of the survival tips that I've put together over time here. And the first thing to do, and really I do this today or tomorrow. Take your flight route and put it into SkyVector, and then put in something like 400 knots into the speed, and that is going to give you an estimated time en route. Now, that's going to probably be, a fairly, it's a bigger time than you're probably going to need, but it gives you an idea of just what kind of a time investment you're going to be making in this event. It's also going to give you an idea of kind of what the flight path is going to be. But let's talk about that departure time, because that's an important thing here. Go to your Cross the Pond dashboard and your departure time. My departure time is going to be 13:43 Zulu. Now, that time is significantly earlier than what I normally do for a spy flight and stuff. So one of the things that I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here and I'm going to look at Sim Toolkit Pro. You can also use Volanta. Also, I believe that SimBrief has something called a Zulu clock. It's a very small number. It's right here at the bottom. And the current time that I'm recording this is 14:18 Zulu. My departure time's 13:43 Zulu, so we're coming up on an hour after my departure time. Now look over at the clock on your computer, and in my case, it's 8 o'clock in the morning, so it means that my departure 0 hour is 7 o'clock in the morning. Now, one of the things that I'm going to do with all of this information is Notepad is my friend. And so one of the things that I've started is I've started some initial notes, and I put in my departure time here, which is 13:43 Zulu, and I have converted that to my local time. Last Cross the Pond, I did not do a good job of converting it, and I thought I had an hour before flight time, and I looked at all the clocks. I says, oh no, I've got less than 20 minutes to get my airplane ready to go. I made it, but it wasn't pretty. So, important safety tip here. Go ahead and get your local departure time. Start a little notepad here and just save it on your desktop. In fact, speaking of saving things on your desktop, one of the things that I've done, as you can see over here on my desktop, I've got my Cross the Pond reservation. I actually took a picture of it, so I've got a small image of that. This is my little note file right here. So that's the one you just saw. That's so I can start piecing notes together. I also have gone and run a flight plan for all of this too, and that's there. And most importantly, I've gone over to that briefing page and I've got the KTPA briefing. So one of the next things that you're going to start getting here is briefing PDFs. And Tampa has already put out an arrival briefing PDF. This is stuff that you need to know for coming into your airport. So you need to be checking back on your VATSIM dashboard here and get those briefings. Okay, so I'm still waiting for the departure briefing from Paris, from de Gaulle. So I'm looking for that. And in the past, the Oceanic people, they put out a briefing PDF too. I seriously grab those briefings, save them to your desktop, make sure you can get to them while you are flying around. Okay, so those are some important things to start. Some other things for you. Yes, I'm sorry I put together a list on all this. So know your start time for planning. Run a pre-flight plan. This is actually a really good idea. Have an idea now what it is that you should expect. So over here, if you go over to SimBrief, I have gone and I've run a pre-flight plan through SimBrief. This might not be the exact route that we get from the Cross the Pond flight directors or anything like that, but I bet this is going to be pretty close. And look at this. It has also, because I put in my departure time of 13:43 Zulu, it has given me an air time. How much time am I in the air? for 9 hours and 50 minutes. So not quite the 10 hours that I got out of SkyVector. In fact, I've shaved a little time, but still, we're starting to drill down on that time. The other thing that this is going to do is the airplane that you're going to want to take. In my case, I want to take the MD-11, the brand new one from Rotate. Can't wait. It's going to be fun. But it does say that my payload and cargo is going to be a little bit limited. So, we can't have all Wilson volleyballs aboard. This is going to give me a zero fuel weight. It's going to give me block fuel and extra fuel. Speaking of extra fuel, important safety tip here. This is a VATSIM event. Things don't always happen on time. Be sure and board what I call VATSIM fuel. Okay, I'm not trying to be mean to VATSIM here, but VATSIM fuel for across the pond for me is 1,000 pounds for departure and 1,000 pounds for arrival. Okay, extra fuel because delays happen. I mean, we're going to jam the skies with probably more airplanes, sim airplanes, than could be real airplanes in some cases. So have a little bit of extra fuel. Call it VATSIM fuel. And again, not trying to be mean. Delays happen. So be sure you got some of that set up and ready to go. So run your pre-flight plan. Next thing to do, grab your charts. Grab your charts and go and see what you got. Fly in and out of your departure airport. This is a flight that I did yesterday. And the flight that I did yesterday was to take the airplane that I'm going to be flying and go into my arrival airport. When you take a look at your arrival and departure charts and everything, there's a bunch of charts that some of us just don't even read, like the airport information chart. This is a really good opportunity to jump down a few rabbit holes here and just glance through this. You might get a little bit of information that you might not have known, like my departure out of De Gaulle and what is the standard SID altitude that I'm supposed to climb to. So now's a really good time to pre-look at the charts. Next thing that I'm going to suggest is on flight day. Okay, if you happen to know that Tampa in the real world is landing to the south, get all of the ILS charts ready to go for all the runways south, because you may not know which runway you're going to get. And if you've got them already set up in your stack of charts here, boy, does that make your life a little bit easier. Check your booking. Like I said, grab those PDFs, read them, know them. The controllers are going to expect you to know those sorts of things. Also do a little test and find out, it says how long from CD to ready to push. CD means cold and dark. So how long does it take from you to start your simulator, get a cup of coffee, and go from do the flight plan and have your plane ready to push and start? Now, yesterday I did a little test. And in my case, after flight planning, from the minute that I turn on the battery on the airplane to the time I'm ready to push and start is 17 minutes. Now, that was going a little bit fast, so 20 minutes. That way you have a good idea of when you need to start pushing buttons on your airplane to the time that it's 10 minutes before push and start, so you know when you're ready to go. Okay, so we've done a few of those things. Day before, some things to do. Do a really good workout. Okay, I'm not kidding. This is going to be a full day of sitting in a chair. Okay, 10 hours. So I've already got some of my workout stuff, and I'm going to do a workout. I'm going to do all of my little workout things, but I'm going to go kind of hard so I sleep pretty good. I'm not going to pull any muscles or anything, but I think it's a good idea to do just a pregame workout. Also, go and do a food run. Go and get some snacks and things that you're going to want, and get those the day before. Don't just get the fun snacks. Get a few healthy things too. Then another thing to do is clean up. So grab your dustbuster and clean up just around. You're going to be here for 10 hours. So run it over your keyboard. Just now is the time to do those things. Okay, and then 90 minutes before flight time, pre-start your sim. Okay, start it all up, make sure it's working. I will pre-start it probably 2 hours before flight time because I'm also a live streamer. So I'm going to start it all up, make sure it's happy, and then turn it all off. Not the computer, and then I'll start it again. assemble your snacks. Be ready to go with your snacks and have them. And as far as snacks, let's talk about that just a little bit. Smaller is better, okay? The idea that you're going to get a big monster gulp of whatever means that you're going to be running back and forth to the bathroom. And trust me, when you need to go to the bathroom and you need 10 minutes away, that's one of the times that the controller is going to say, no, you can't be away. So, it's uncomfortable. So some safety tips. This is my coffee pot. This is actually my coffee pot for across the pond. That's what I use this for. And notice that it is not the biggest thing in the world. It's also thermal. It's going to keep my coffee hot. So I'm going to get probably about 2 or 3 cups out of this. Not big cups or anything like that, but I'm going to pre-make it. It's going to be hot and ready to go. Do you have one of those coffee cups that has a warmer or something that I use all the time? Boy, that's a really nice thing to have on your desk as well. Next thing, speaking of thermal, some sort of a thermal thing full of water, some cool water or something like that. Yes, you're going to want a bunch of other stuff, but just have some water standing by. And speaking of things having standing by, maybe some tissue, some paper towels, something, because something's going to spill and you're not going to be able to get away. Final little safety tip here. This is something that I use as well too. This is a small, like quarter size, small quarter size styrofoam beer cooler. Okay, and I've got an ice pack chilling out there, so I can put cool snacks in here. It sits on the floor right by the sim cockpit, and it's all ready to go. So those are just some of my safety tips. So look at the charts, run a flight plan. So I've already started looking at the charts. I've already run a PDF file. Here is my VATSIM Miami. This is the stuff to start reading about my arrival. I'm starting to look at that. I'm going to go and keep a close eye over here on my my VATSIM reservation to get my routing. That's 6 to 12 hours before flight time. But I'm also going to be looking for those briefing PDF files as well. I may rerun this a few times. And then in the days before, you really need to take the airplane that you're going to be flying in the event and take off from your departure airport. You don't have to fly the whole route. Go 300-400 miles away. Make sure that there's no scenery errors. Do the same thing with your arrival airport. And those are just some of the things that might make the VATSIM event a little more fun. Finally, as we like to say in the aviation world, aviate, communicate, and aviate, navigate, communicate. It's early, be nice. Aviate, navigate, communicate. Just because ATC has told you to do something doesn't mean you have to respond immediately, if not sooner. Otherwise, the whole world will... Okay, you get to take a breath. It's also okay to ask ATC to please repeat something. Some ATC controllers talk faster than an auctioneer, okay? They're just a mile a minute. And so if you just need them to repeat, it's okay to ask to do that too. And I hope you have a really good time. Several of us are going to be live streaming the event. There's going to be ATC live streaming. There's going to be pilots live streaming. And I hope that if this is your first event, that you have a really good time. And I also hope that some of these hints and tricks are something that might work for you. In the meantime, if you have any comments or questions, I'm still really new here on YouTube, and so I'm still reading all the comments and questions and stuff. So I will get back to you on that. Please join us over on the Spy Flight on Twitch. Links are all in the description below. But join us over there. We're doing some preparations for Cross the Pond and just some chill out flying in the days ahead. So come on over and say hi. If you like some of the content you're seeing here on YouTube, I'm still really new, not monetized, but if you want to show some support, head on over to Twitch and maybe hit the subscribe button. I'll really appreciate that too. And I will see you soon again here on YouTube and probably even sooner over on Twitch. So thank you for watching. Cheers.